Welcome to the Edified Equity Podcast. My name is Dino, and here we focus on all the unique benefits associated with being a passive equity investor in an apartment syndication. You can learn more about us and follow us on the web, iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and our award-winning blog on Bigger Pockets. All associated links will be in the show notes. If you find this information helpful, please subscribe, like, comment, rate, and review. Today, on the Edified Equity Podcast, episode number 44, we're talking about the 5 Ps. That's perfectionism, persistence, patience, priority, and perspective. And I have a special guest here with me today in the studio, my daughter, Lucienne.
Hi.
So no matter what your goals are, whether it be to build a passive income of $20,000, $50,000, $5,000, whatever it is per month, or to achieve any goal, like to make a trip to Europe or go and see the Grand Canyon, whatever it is, put that picture in your mind. I want today's podcast to be relevant to you. And that's why I'm talking about the 5 Ps. So the first 2 that we're going to cover is perspective and priority. And we'll also shed a little bit of patience here, but I'll get into more of patience in a minute. So first, let's cover perspective and priority. So put things into perspective here. Chances are you are going to live another 10, 30, 50, 60 years or more. That's what chances are. Do you plan on living at least another 60 years?
Yeah, or even more.
Right. And so do most of the listeners on this podcast. What I want to talk about is if you're not living the life that you want, I'm encouraging you to start that journey now. See, your time is now. This isn't a drill. This is not a dress rehearsal. You have time to chase your dreams. That's why I put into perspective, you're going to live 10 to 60 or more years. That's a long time. You have time. If you haven't already started down that path, I'm urging you to start now. But the question is this: do you have the patience? Are you willing to put in the effort? Are you willing to work? And are your dreams really a priority? Or are you going to settle and live with regret? I certainly hope not. And again, I encourage you and I'm cheering you on because it is possible. You have time and your legacy as well as you're worth it. Moving on to persistence and patience. When you think about patience and persistence, as well as, again, leaning back on perspective, it took an entire 3.5 years, a ton of patience, and over 120 people to make a 76-minute stop-motion movie. Now, I'm referring to The Nightmare Before Christmas. Do you know the movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about making stop-motion movies?
Yeah, I know that from my knowledge of making stop motion, only 4 pictures makes 1 second of the entire movie. So it took a lot of pictures to make this movie, which would be a lot of patience and hard work.
That's right. I mean, it's a lot of patience and hard work for you when you make. How long are your movies? Your I brought her on specifically because we're going to talk about 2 things. This is one. She's makes stop motion movies. And how long are yours?
Usually about 1 minute to 2 minutes.
And does it take you some work and patience and effort?
Yeah. Like one time I made a movie and it took me almost an hour.
Yeah.
It was a really long movie.
And it was a minute long when you watched it.
Yeah, basically,
Right.
because after all the editing, and it was 1 minute.
Right. So you can see here how what we're trying to say, it can take her an hour to make a minute or an entire day after she edits to make a minute. And that type of persistence and patience is what brings about masterpieces like The Nightmare Before Christmas. Here's another example. J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series. It took her 7 years and numerous rejections. It was 12 rejections. It wasn't until she brought it to the 13th publisher that she got a yes. So 7 years from the time she had Harry Potter as a conception to it being written and ultimately published in 1997. 7 years later, Rowling, now this is according to Forbes, was the first author to become a billionaire through her book writing. Do you like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Are you glad that she kept pushing on to see this to fruition and so that we can enjoy the books?
Yeah. It's probably took a lot of work because all the rejections, and then finally she got accepted. Then 7 years before she became a billionaire was just a lot of patience and hard work.
It was, but it wasn't even the 7 years to become a billionaire. It was the 7 years from when she thought of it before it even got published. I mean, that's when she didn't have a ton of money and she just kept believing in herself. She had the patience. She was very persistent. And thankfully, she saw it through so that now the world can enjoy Harry Potter.
Yeah, and now Harry Potter's a big success throughout the world. Even if they're older movies, people would still watch them to this day.
Oh, certainly. And the books as well.
Yeah, I'm still reading those books, too.
I know.
They're good.
So we've heard from Lao Tzu that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Now be mindful, because you have to take the first step. But you also have to be willing to take countless additional steps as well. So be persistent, have patience. We got a long time left. Let's move into perfectionism. What I'm encouraging you to do is not to get caught up in short-term results. If Rowling would have stopped after the first publisher, we wouldn't have the Harry Potter series today. If they would have stopped after year 1, we wouldn't have The Nightmare Before Christmas. So what I'm saying is, don't worry about short-term results. No one's going to read your book at first. No one's going to listen to your podcast at first, or maybe even read your post, or take your advice on message boards. Whatever you can liken this to. Never quit. If you're chasing your dream, keep at it. And if you're wondering whether or not it can really happen, I urge you to dive in and start swimming. You don't need to be perfect to get started. It's better to be in action without a perfect plan than it is to be paralyzed and not taking any action, because that's definitely not moving you towards achieving your ultimate goal. So having a deep understanding of what it's going to take, what it's truly going to take to get that goal, and having a true understanding of the perspective on how you have to prioritize, how you have to be patient. Also, you need to be persistent, never quit, and how action trumps perfectionism can help you make your dreams become a reality. Find a way to consistently stay mindful of this, because times will get tough. I've seen tough times myself. Have you ever experienced a tough time when working towards any of your goals?
Yeah, some things are really tough for me. Like, for instance, the stop motion. It takes a lot of work, and also like J.K. Rowling, she took a lot of work through that. So a lot of things can be tough and take a long time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. If something's worth having, you are going to run into obstacles and roadblocks. Keep going, and you will not regret paying the price. Do you have anything to add before we close it out?
I think one last thing. So, back to the stop motion. So, stop motion, once again, takes a lot of time. And I just think if you push through it, put all your work into it, take all the time you need, you will get through it and you will do it, even if it's by yourself or more people than you ever thought of. It just takes patience and perfection as well. All the things that my dad talked about today were basically due to that. It takes a lot of time, and everything will turn out the way you want it if you work at it. And that's all I think I have to say.
Awesome. And you never quit, right?
Yes, never.
That's right. Well, we hope you found this information helpful. So whether you're here for the education, entertainment, or if you or someone you know has a problem finding the right place to invest their money, please help them by sharing this information. I don't have anything to sell, but I am on a mission, and I will be delivering quality, consultative, educational content on a routine basis. Thanks for tuning in. Make it a great day. You certainly deserve it. This is Dino Pierce and
Me, Lucienne,
CEO of Edified Equity, signing off. Goodbye.